Okay, so I wanted to start things off by talking about my character Salemic for a little bit, because he's probably the character I'm going to be using the most to represent me because he is a self-insert, admittedly. He is aspects of myself mixed in with aspects that I wish I could attribute to myself. He is the idealized version of me, and that does mean he was sort of spliced together with my highest kin, because I'm a filthy kinny now. I'm gonna go through just a little bit of what makes him so similar to me and what makes him so personal to me, other than, of course, him being a self-insert. So you can find all the information I'm going to be talking about today on my Toyhouse, which is linked in my About section. So he is the same age as me, and will continue to age as I do. He and I have the same birthday, and that makes both of us 19 years old. He presents himself typically androgynously, and would define himself as masculine-leaning non-binary, or non-binary with a more obvious lean towards masculine presentation, because, again, that's how I like to define myself, that's how I like to come across. The character himself is what I have called a dream wanderer. I don't know if that's actually a common thing. If it is, then someone let me know so I can maybe look into it a little further. Tell me where I can find more information about what I'm about to describe in terms of a fictional species or something that other people have made, just to make sure I'm using the right term, because some people who because I know some people can get a bit bothered, I suppose, by incorrect use of terminology when it comes to fictional species. So, essentially, he wakes up in other people's dreams. He can enter other people's dreams, and unlike a dream eater, he doesn't feed off of them, he just finds his way into them, and this was actually based off the fact that I get a lot of anxiety dreams, quite commonly. He has been scarred from waking up in other people's nightmares, and those nightmares came from my own experience of getting really bad anxiety nightmares that still persist, and I think have done since I was maybe 12 or 13, so for the last maybe 6 or 7 years I've been getting really bad anxiety related dreams, and they are often sort of mundane things, like someone that I look up to dislikes me or something, just something typical like that is the more common one, but I have had some really bad ones about getting kidnapped or held at gunpoint before, and it's been really scary. Because of all of that, I do have insomnia, which is reflected in Salemic, as he also has insomnia because he would, as I wrote in his Toyhouse page, would much rather be restless than see someone's twisted dreams. But because he has no control over his wandering powers, he can't determine when it will happen. So obviously, he doesn't know it'll happen tonight, so I'll just stay awake tonight and then sleep tomorrow. Insomnia really affects my attention span, and I do sort of stare into space on a regular basis. People have frequently asked me if I'm listening to them because I zone out really, really easily, and I always play it off as, well, it's not playing it off because it's true. It's not an excuse, it's just that I don't sleep very well, and it affects how much I am capable of paying attention. Essentially. Sometimes this is actually the case because his exhaustion does sometimes make his... I use sometimes twice in that sentence, I will edit that. His exhaustion does sometimes make his concentration very bad, along with medication he takes for mental health conditions. This is also an aspect that I took from my actual life. I am medicated for my anxiety and also now for physical issues like vitamin deficiencies. I was medicated for a little while for anemia, but it never really helped anything. And I'm also medicated for gender dysphoria. He has been accused of being a people pleaser in the past, which he had to admit to as it was part of a general anxiety disorder and social anxiety disorder, both of which I have and I am medicated for. It makes him desperate to be liked by everyone or even keep a low profile, so he never stood up for himself. That was a big problem that I had and that I am working on now that I'm in college. I am doing my best to try and speak up a little bit, and putting myself out there is still really difficult. I get super nervous whenever I'm called on to speak or whenever I'm chosen to do something. I get so nervous. I get like hot flushes and my head feels like it's swimming all of a sudden. My hands start shaking and it almost feels like my limbs are just completely loose. Like my joints have just loosened completely because suddenly I feel like I have no control over my body. Sort of as a result of just that absolute panic and just get me out of this situation, but I can't move. I've lost control. I can't move. And it is actually quite a harrowing experience sometimes. He's gotten better at saying no in recent years, but part of how he avoids falling back into old habits is that he's become a shut-in. He appears sickly pale because he rarely goes outside, has a poor immune system, and anemia. Once again, as I said, I was medicated for anemia at one point, and it never really helped me. I do get headaches very easily. I can't really ever say I leave the house on a regular basis, to the point where I had blood tests to try and get medicated for gender dysphoria, and it came back saying that my vitamin D levels were terrifyingly low, so I have to be on really strong supplements at the moment. I am a shut-in. I don't talk to too many people, I have to say. Even people I've known for years in person through school or through anything, really. I rarely text them, and my friends do say that they understand that I'm not a terribly social person, but obviously there's always that concern that they're gonna think I'm, trying to cut them out or that I've forgotten about them. So sometimes it really does make things difficult because I force myself to go out and spend time with them sometimes, which means I'm not having fun and they can see it and they're not having fun and we all just feel really bad. Honestly, the last year or so with quarantine and everything has been so easy for me because it felt like nothing changed. It'd be nice to have the option to go out again now that I'm in college and I've met loads of new people and I'm trying to break out of that old habit, but at the same time, it's been so simple to just not have to go anywhere or worry about anything. I detailed a situation that he had with an ex-girlfriend that he was, as I put, intimate with for a few years after they split. She would emasculate and guilt him into maintaining their sexual relationship, and every time he tried to reject her sexual advances or told her that he wasn't in the mood, she would make him feel bad about it, and their interactions made him believe for a long time that his worth and all that relationships are all reliant on how sexual he is with the other person or people involved. Because of that, he is highly likely to avoid sexual relationships, repelled by sexual intimacy, but not exactly repulsed by it. It isn't the act itself that makes him feel sick, but the fear of that manipulation returning after he gets to that point in the relationship. And I do sadly have to admit that that is a situation that I was in through 2015 through 2019, I believe. So it was about maybe 3.5, 4 years time when I was dating someone who I did remain intimate with afterwards, and I don't think she realized what she was doing, but every time I tried to reject those sexual advances, she would make me feel bad about it, and I have unfortunately been pushed away from engaging in sexual relationships to the point where I believe myself to be asexual at this point. And I genuinely, I have a very, very low sex drive. I genuinely do not feel comfortable putting myself in that situation anymore. There is a very, very distinct line that I will never cross, or at least haven't been able to for a long time, and I'm just happy that my current partner is very understanding of that. I did then go on to say that said ex-girlfriend would make him feel invalidated for becoming angry at when he got anxious because of his anxiety disorders, which again is also a real experience. You can read about that. The reason I'm so open about it is to put it on the internet like this is because it was a long time ago, and I have to say that over the last year and a half, I do feel like I've been getting better, and I just want to hold out some hope that if she was to stumble across it, she would understand my point of view. And this was one of those situations where I know she knew how I felt about it. She knew what she was doing. She would get angry at me. She would start fights. And it was honestly a really harrowing experience. But I want to believe that she will have changed her mind about stuff like that over the time that we've not been friends, over the time we've not been talking. Which is the reason I'm not afraid to share it, because I want to hold out some hope that it is not a mindset that she currently still stands by. I want to believe that she has changed and would give people with anxiety that space to, feel like they are not invalid or useless because they get anxious really easily. I do withdraw myself quite a lot, as he does, including sometimes even saying I don't even want to talk to my partner, which I have spoken to said partner about. He knows about it, and I am the luckiest guy in the world to have him in my life because he understands and he cares and he gets it. He understands what I'm talking about, and because of that, he is very respectful of whenever I ask him for that space. Even talking to his boyfriend can be difficult sometimes, although he is the most understanding of these strange mood drops. My boyfriend has BPD, and so although there are moments where he also needs me to message him back, there are times where he doesn't want to talk to anyone. There are times where he will be withdrawn as well. There are times where he will have these mood swings, and we understand each other because of that. We are trying to get better together. We have promised that we will get better together, and I am proud of how far we're coming along, honestly. He and I are on a journey together, and it's going well. Exactly like me, it says he is in college and studying literature and creative writing, as his biggest dream is to be a published and recognized writer. He adores reading gothic literature and writes his own gothic stories. His biggest project is a murder mystery, and he's drawn to more gothic aesthetics as a result. Yeah, I'm never gonna deny that. I spent over, God, so much money on old ruffled goth shirts because, oh my god, they're so pretty. His outfit is genuinely clothes that I do own and wear on a regular basis. I will extend a thank you to my amazing classmates because, as I said here, even if he has portrayed something incorrectly, his classmates are often calm and supportive, ready to help him describe/show the misinterpreted situation, group, or concept more accurately, and it's an extremely safe place for him. I have to say that over the last year it has been an extremely safe place for me, and I'm extremely thankful to know these people. There are other subjects that I brought up that are completely true on there. In fact, I'm pretty sure everything under the background and personality section is completely true to me, that I will not go into full detail about right now, but some of those are genuine experiences that I have unfortunately had to go through. And as for his appearance, yeah, most of that was where I strayed from myself, because he is what I wish I looked like. My hair is about the same length, although is not completely black. It is a sort of weird dark brown, and it is not split dyed, but I want it to be, and I want it to I want to get that done pretty quickly. My eyes do not look like that. They are not that color. Although I have to say, I think his physical frame is quite accurate to mine. A small frame standing roughly 5'2" without his boots, and has almost feminine curves, particularly in the waist, hips, and thighs. He's slightly underweight despite these curves, however, but not dangerously. He has sickly pale skin patterned with old scars on his arms and thighs, including one shaped like a pentagram from when he was 15, because I was an edgy kid and wanted to cut myself in the shape of a pentagram. His MBTI is the same as mine. His sexual orientation is the same as mine. His sign, occupation, and demeanor is the same as mine, the demeanor being unfocused, as you can see from the details card. He likes dogs, gothic horror, swing sets, and rock music, and dislikes bright lights, politics, bugs, and the flavor mint. I've only really had him for a couple weeks. I designed and made him a few weeks ago, and I have to say, I'm very attached to him. He's very personal to me, and I care for him as a character quite a lot. Like I said, yes, he is my idealized version of myself, and a lot of the a lot of his experiences are my experiences. His background is my background, and his appearance is how I wish I looked, hence the idealized version of myself. He is named after, first of all, his last name is Salemic, because my social medias at the time I made him were all in Salem, and a lot of them still are. So people on Discord call me Salem, but he was later named after the character that I kin the most, because of how attached to that character I am, because of how much I see myself in him, because of how special and comforting he is to me as just a character from my favorite comfort movie. My most comforting movie, actually, my biggest comfort movie. So, yeah, maybe he's cringy. Maybe it's weird that I do that, but I just wanted to open up and give a little bit of a description of him, and therefore a little bit of an introduction to myself, because he and I are basically one and the same in terms of our personalities and what we're like. I just hope that no one's absolutely repulsed by this.